Macro photography, or close-up photography, is really interesting. It gives you such a unique perspective on normal everyday things by getting super up close with the subject and observe the otherwise imperceivable details. That being said, I had zero interest in this type of photography whatsoever until I played around with this magical lens at a camera store, and I had to get it. This is the Laowa 65mm macro lens. Before I start, let me disclose that this video is not sponsored by anyone. All opinions and observations are mine. However, if you do want to support me, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment what you want me to make a video about next. If you are a brand that wants me to review your product, feel free to reach out to my email as well. If you're not familiar with Laowa, you must be living under a rock, and that's coming from me. Laowa, or Venus Optics, are a well-known brand for producing incredible zero distortion ultra-wide lenses, macro lenses, and they also popularized probe lenses in the last few years. They also make incredible spherical and anamorphic cine lenses, as well as cine versions of their stills products too, which I would like to try out in the future. I do have something coming from them in the very near future though, so stay tuned for that. This lens in particular is the 65mm f2.8 2x ultra macro APO lens for the Fujifilm X mount. This lens MSRP is for $399 US and comes in various mirrorless APS-C mounts. I bought this specific one used through MPB. This is a 97.5mm full-frame equivalent lens made for APS-C and Super 35 mirrorless sensors. The maximum aperture is a bit smaller at just f2.8, but any larger and it will be near impossible to properly focus on the macro end. Speaking of macro, the minimum focus distance is 17 centimeters, of which about 10 is the lens itself, and it lets you get right up close and personal with your subject, generating an image 2 times the perceived size as real life. To be honest, I have no idea how macro magnifications work, but we're just gonna send it. As with any other standard Laowa lens I am familiar with, this one is stupid sharp with great color contrast with no weird artifacts. There is zero noticeable chromatic aberration or fringing even at its widest f2.8 aperture, thanks to the APO or apochromatic design, which have extra glass added to reduce that aberration. As with most macro lenses, it's not just for close-up shots, and the focus properly goes to infinity, letting you use this as a super compact telephoto prime lens. This lens is completely made of high quality glass and metal, including the lens hood, feeling nice and premium, especially for the price. Having the girth of a Red Bull can and the shaft length of an average American male, it's compact enough to fit in a small bag to take out to do some street photography. I can snugly fit it in my 6-liter Peak Design sling along with some snacks. Like all prosumer Laowa lenses, the focus and aperture are completely manual. The aperture ring does have clicks at each full stop, but the stops between are super smooth. I do wish they were declicked, but I guess that's what the cine version's for. Now this is strangely my favorite part of the lens, the focus ring. It is the smoothest manual ring I've ever felt, having the perfect amount of resistance, allowing you to precisely pull focus by hand. It's also insanely easy to pull focus as well. A lot of other macro lenses I've tried, especially Fujifilm macros, take like 400 turns of the focus ring to get out of the macro focus distance and then turn into a normal telephoto lens with weird acceleration, non-linear focus by wire. This one, however, has just the right amount of focus throw for all focus distances. Yes, it does slow down once you get into the closer end, but it is completely predictable and so easy to use. Predictable and easy, just like clicking the subscribe button and liking this video. My last 2 lens videos have over 15,000 views combined, but the subscriber count isn't growing. Let's change that right now so you can get to see more of my videos and help my channel out a lot. Now that you've subscribed, let's take a look at some sample photos. I took this lens out a couple times to shoot around downtown, some random lighting macro stuff from my room, and a shoot with a friend with his bike. I had the Tiffen Glimmerglass 1 on the lens the whole time except for the bike shoot, and it gives the image a bit of halation, which I love for photos. So I usually choose lenses based on their unique look, not necessarily for their convenience or resolution. That's why I got the Helios, the 7 Artisans Prime, and I'm looking to add a set of vintage primes as well. This lens doesn't have a particular swirly or distorted look, but I think it's rather uniquely and unbelievably sharp. Even on a 5-year-old 24-megapixel APS-C sensor, almost every minuscule detail is preserved, having an incredible amount of clarity. Okay, I did say they aren't swirls, but there definitely are some swirls, giving it that slight magical touch to the image. Since this is completely a manual focus lens, I had to pull focus manually during the flybys of the bike. Although it took a few attempts, it was still super achievable, showing how well tuned the focus ring is. Like I said, this isn't an exclusively macro lens, and it is great as a regular telephoto lens, allowing you to take fun and creative long distance shots with a nice compressed background. At this price, I think this is as sharp as a lens can get with this many features while having an over-the-top build quality and being small enough to fit in a side pocket of a camera bag. I may just be completely out of the circle, but I think this lens is way underrated and is definitely one of my favorite APS-C telephoto primes on the market right now. Well, I hope you enjoyed this lens review. Leave a like and subscribe and leave a comment what you think about this lens. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, don't die. See ya.